And we are live, I believe.
Yay.
Let me check my computer. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Give it 1 second. Let me just make sure that I'm doing all the technical and all the talking with Rebecca today. So yes, we are live. Great.
Yay.
Hopefully my sound is turned down. Fantastic. All right, guys, welcome back to our breast sleeping Q&A. It is that time of the week and month again for us to spend amazing quality time with all of you, answer your breastfeeding questions and your sleeping questions, two topics that go hand in hand. And we know that because half the questions are really both kind of intertwined. And so we'll be answering as many as we can today. Welcome, Rebecca.
Nice to see you, Shari. It's been a long time.
Long time no see. I feel like I've been spending every minute with you, and it's been wonderful.
I know, it's crazy now that we're sort of at opposite sides of the country after we spent the whole weekend together, and now we're back you're back over that side, I'm over this side.
It's so true. And we couldn't be farther apart in like location and destination, but as far as topic, as far as just our ability to come together in this information, we couldn't be closer together. So I'm so happy to do this once again with you. And it was so great to see you this weekend, as well as everybody else at the Chicago Baby Show.
We had a lot of fun.
It was definitely fun. I want to see, okay, everybody's joining us right now. If you were at the Chicago Baby Show, I would love to hear from you here. If you were there, tell us. And if you're new to our Q&A, let us know as well, because we always love to welcome our new members, all the new mamas and daddies, okay, who do watch and join us every 2 weeks as we do this. Hi, everyone. Yeah, welcome. Okay, so as we said, we were at the Chicago Baby Show this past weekend. Rebecca and I hosted a fantastic scavenger hunt that went perfectly well. I was a little bit like, okay, how's this going to go? It was our first time doing the scavenger hunt, but everyone seemed to really enjoy it. The grands all loved it. The moms and dads all loved it. And you guys at home, you guys loved it too. You got to do it right there from home and participate, which was kind of our intention, was to bring it to you, to bring these events that we get to go participate and travel to. I know so many of you live in cities where the shows don't come, and so you don't really get to join us. So I hope that kind of brought it into your living rooms a little, and that you had a fun time doing it with us. Did anybody participate in the scavenger hunt? Who's here in the chat? Did anybody participate? I'd love to hear from you. Fantastic. Awesome. And Jamie here is saying she was at the show, loved our session. I'm so glad you were there, Jamie. Yay. We had a lot of new, there were so many first-time expecting moms and dads in our session, and I just love that. Rebecca and we love talking to new parents because it's such a great time to learn this information and really have the biggest impact on your experience, on your whole experience. That not just getting breastfeeding off to the right start, but just enjoying the beginning of the journey. Right?
It's when you need help. That's when you need that support, is in those early days when you don't know what to expect and everything's so new, and just sort of going in with just a teeny bit of knowledge can be so empowering and very, very powerful.
Absolutely. They're saying here they did the scavenger hunt. We actually have winners for the scavenger hunt. We had over 400 people participate in the scavenger hunt, which was wonderful. Moms, dads, everybody. So we do have our winners, and we are going to announce our winners today on the show. We're going to give it a few minutes because people are still jumping in. In the meantime, I want to just acknowledge and say hello to our sponsors for today, which is Earth Mama Organics, a brand that I love, use, recommend, and I'm honored to call close friends of mine, very, very dear friends of mine, who make just the most amazing skincare and teas, products for both moms and babies that are completely toxin-free, organic, safe. Okay, safe to put on and in your body and on your baby. And the reason why it's so important, and I've been saying this now for well over a decade. I used to sell these products in my store here in New Jersey. It's one of those brands that just has been here in my life forever. And the reason why it's so important to make sure that you have these organic, toxin-free, trusted products is because what you put on your body goes into your body. And it's really not a joke. It's really not a joke. Babies are exposed to so many chemicals and toxins even before they're born in utero. And so we can't obviously prevent all exposure, and that's just the world that we live in. But wherever we can minimize that risk, minimize that exposure, you really want to do that. And so when it comes to organic products for baby, it's probably my number one thing to make sure you are getting organic, and that's the skincare that you're putting on them. We're talking about soaps and lotions and hair and shampoos, oils, diaper creams, all of those things. And Earth Mama Organic makes all of that, as well as all the products for moms for pregnancy, breastfeeding, postpartum care, just fantastic stuff. I've used it and I still use it. It's my daily moisturizer. Their body butter is what I put on my face as a moisturizer because I'm just trying to avoid chemicals, and it works so well. It just works so well. So have any of you guys tried the Earth Mama Organics? And now they have the deodorant, which I've been using too. It's hard to see. There's like a backlight here, okay? But the deodorant has no aluminum, toxin-free. So fantastic, fantastic products. They're nipple butter, okay? Nipple butter, best thing ever, best thing ever. Okay, so someone's gonna win a nice care package from Earth Mama Organics today. And the way that you win today, as well as how you get all the links that we'll be talking about throughout the show, is you go ahead and type the word baby right now here in the chat. Just type the word baby and you will get a message from me that will give you links to everything. And that includes entering to win the products today. It'll include links to the private Facebook group. It'll include links to my free online class, Simply Breastfeeding. So go ahead and type baby. If you have a problem with that and it's not coming through, don't worry. After the show, there is a link, a direct link you can click on to visit it afterwards. You just click right on it and we'll open that up for you. Oh, it just got dark in here. You can't tell, but I can tell. All right. So let's just take a moment and introduce ourselves. I guess we could have done that in the beginning, but it's, like I said, we always have new people. So for a moment, I just want to say, I am Shari Criso. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a certified nurse midwife. I delivered babies for a very long time. And then I became an international board certified lactation consultant and specialized in breastfeeding. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 12 years. And now here online, and what I do is all spending time with you and teaching classes and educating online, which is just the honor of my life to spend time with all of you. So that's me, Rebecca.
I'm Rebecca Michi. I am a children's sleep consultant and author. I work with families of children under 6 years old. So obviously there's a real broad range of ages and issues that I work with. I am a gentle, no cry sleep consultant, so I'm not advising families to leave their children to cry it out. Based in Seattle, originally from the UK, I have 2 teenage daughters who started back at school today. Thank goodness.
I was going to say, it's kind of a good thing.
It's kind of a good thing, but obviously today has been completely crazy.
I bet.
Crazy. I'm in Seattle, so it's just gone 10 a.m. So it's just all a bit like, okay, lunches, and I've got to get you up at 6 a.m. And it's just been crazy.
Yeah. It's hard, when and our girls start late too. All over the country, they've been going back to school for quite a few weeks already.
Yeah.
Currently, but no matter when it is, it's not easy to start again.
No.
Mine are going back next week. Mine are starting next week. So Rebecca, should we announce the winners before we begin, or should we do a few questions first?
Let's get started. Let's do a breastfeeding question. Let's do a sleep question. Then let's do some winners.
Okay, great. And I'm looking at myself here on my phone, and it looks like I'm quite pink because of the lighting. Don't know why. It could be
it's not a bad thing.
I don't know. I look pink. Pink's a nice color.
Yeah, exactly.
Face is pink. That's okay. The light might keep going in and out. I have a lot of windows here. All right, so let's do one question before we get started. And everybody go ahead and type baby here so that you can get the links for today. All right, the first question came in from Michelle. And Michelle said, any tips to building up a supply at 7 weeks postpartum? I've had to supplement since day 3 in order to get my son out of the NICU. I feel like it's dwindling. I tried power pumping and nothing changed. So we actually talked a little bit about this at the baby show, and really discussed a little bit about low milk supply and the idea that so much of low milk supply, and not all, but so much, is really the perceived low milk supply. And as I read her question, and she says, I feel like it's dwindling. My question is, what is her expectation of how much milk she should be making for her baby? And especially if the baby spent time in the NICU, where it really is important to kind of make a little bit extra and make sure that you're pumping extra if that's all you're doing, exclusively pumping. But you may have received information about how much you need to be providing that's more than you actually need. And so I really do question, is there really a dwindling in your supply, or has it now, maybe you're home, you're starting to nurse again, it is actually regulated to exactly what your baby needs? The idea of trying to make more than the baby is actually taking or really needs, it's not an easy thing to do, because your body's really trying as hard as it can to stay in sync with the baby. Babies eat somewhere between 1 to about 1.25 ounces per hour. So you want to calculate that out based on how far apart your feedings are. All right, usually at around 7 weeks, they're eating anywhere from 2 to maybe 3 ounces per feeding, eating anywhere from 2 to maybe 3 hours apart. And that's very, very normal. If you're expecting your body to pump out 6 ounces every few hours, every 2 hours, that's where the perception issue can come in. And so I just, without having more information, I don't know. And I wouldn't want to encourage you to create an oversupply, or feel like you're not making enough, where then you feel like you need to be supplementing. In order to really know whether your baby's getting enough out of feeding, it's not about looking at how much you're feeding, because obviously when you're feeding at the breast, you cannot tell how much is going in. The only real objective way to know that your baby's getting enough is to look at the signs that are on the outside. And that's more like listening as the baby's eating for audible swallows. That way you can kind of hear that there's a milk transfer occurring. Those swallowing sounds, it's in the throat. It sounds like a sound. Okay, so audible swallows. Feel your breast before the feeding and after. And if it feels softer after the feeding, and you were feeling a little fuller, that's milk going into the baby. And I said this weekend, as long as the pillow's not soaking wet, it went in. Okay. And then watch your baby's wet and poopy diapers, but mostly wet. As long as the baby's having 6 to 8 wet diapers in a 24-hour period, you at least know that the baby is hydrated and there's no emergency happening. If that's all they're getting is milk from the breast and they're hydrated, you can keep going and know that the baby's not in any emergency situation, okay? And then, of course, we want to check the baby's weight gain and make sure the baby's gaining consistently on a normal path, not large amounts of weight gain, but going in the right direction. And I usually recommend somewhere between 4 to 8 ounces per week on average, without weighing every week, because the baby will not gain the same every week. All right. So these are all ways on the outside, or not so much how much you're making, how much milk you're putting in. You can't tell that. How much are you seeing them really responding to the milk and doing well with that? All right. Those are all good things. And the idea of trying to make it go faster with, taking herbs or taking anything, cookies, power pumping, all these things. Yes, with the support of a lactation consultant. I'm not going to give you that advice to go do that. And I know that when you post this in my group or you post this somewhere online, everyone's going to come in and give you like 100 answers of like, try this, try that, increase your supply. This is what I did. And I really want to caution everyone when they're answering questions for other mamas, because I know it's coming from a really good place. I want to caution all of you to think a little bit one step ahead of that and question whether all of these suggestions are really the answer to the question that's being asked. Is it really the best advice that we're giving to have a mom think she needs to go eat a lot of cookies to increase a supply that may not be a problem in the first place? Couple more questions, encourage her to understand how to check whether her baby's getting enough, encourage her to understand normal milk supply at different ages. Those are the best things that we could do for new nursing mamas, is to teach them about the norms and help them dispel some of those myths that are out there, okay? And if there, after all that really is an issue, recommend she sees a lactation consultant, because especially with a baby that was in the NICU, especially with somebody who may not have been putting the baby to breast every 2 to 3 hours or less in those first few days, there could be an issue that needs to be worked out, but it's not going to be something she should do alone.
Great answer.
There's my answer to you. All right, fantastic. Let's get some hearts going across the screen. I want to see lots of hearts today. Rebecca and I have been traveling. We've been talking a lot for the last few days. We are very tired. We have teenagers going back to school. And so we need a lot of hearts and love coming across the screen today so that we can keep on flowing out to all of you. All right, there we go. Ashley says, I'm going to post this because I like this, okay? I love my lactation consultant. I love that. I love reading that. Fantastic. You should, these are the people who can really make you feel like, you're okay afterwards. And so make sure that you get the support. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Okay, awesome. All right, Rebecca, you ready for a question?
Oh, I am.
All right, let's do a question for Rebecca here. All right, so there were a lot of sleep questions this time. Oh my goodness. No one's sleeping, Rebecca. Sleeping. Okay. This came in from Annika. Mm-hmm. It said, my 15-month-old still wakes 2 to 3 times in the night only to comfort nurse. Literally nurses for 45 seconds and is back to sleep. Help. How do I wean him of this constant night waking?
Okay, so the waking is completely normal. Humans wake between 2 and 6 times a night. So the waking part isn't actually the issue whatsoever. We're all after getting our children sleeping through the night, and nobody on the planet sleeps through the night. So that's kind of a huge myth. But you are needing to help your child back to sleep when they normally wake. So we're not trying to avoid that wake up. But if you're only having to do that nursing for 45 seconds, it's not, you're probably not even much milk happening at that point anyway. So what I would suggest that you do is take a look at how your child is initially getting to sleep at the very beginning part of the night. Because if they are also being helped to sleep, then chances are they're going to need help getting back to sleep when they wake during the night. And I think that that's what's going on here, is that you're initially helping them down to sleep, and then when they wake, which is normal, they need the help getting back down to sleep. What you can start doing is just not even try nursing for one of the feeds that you're having during one of those wake ups during the night. And that would be, you can try rocking, you could try patting, you could try walking them around, but just not putting them to the breast. And then if you are as well feeding at the beginning part of the night, you can still feed as part of your routine. I think that's a really lovely thing to do, and I would certainly continue to do that. But I would feed at the very beginning part of the routine, go through your routine as normal, and then you're not going to be feeding to sleep right at the end. You can still feed. There'll be a little bit more of a top up, but the chance of your child actually falling asleep then, because they've already fed, is greatly reduced. And then you can even sort of be rocking or holding them to sleep. That can then mean that you don't need to be giving so much help then during the night, and they will be able to be a little bit more independent for those wake ups during the night.
Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so are we ready for some prizes?
Yes.
Okay, let's announce some of these winners because it's very exciting. And what I loved was we had a grand prize winner. And well, let's start with all the second prize winners. So what we had one grand prize winner who won one of everything. Okay, one of each of the prizes, which is a fantastic prize here. I don't even know how many different things there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15 different prizes that will be shipped to this person's house, okay? But we also had 9 other second prize winners that each won a prize. So we have a lot of winners here to announce. I'm going to run through the list of all the second prize winners, and we will be messaging each one of you separately to let you know what you won exactly, okay? But here are the winners, all right? The second prize winners are, we have Kyle Lund, Katie Walthall, Melissa Mitchell, Jennifer Johnson, Roseanne Resech, I hope I said that right, Victoria Hardman, Britta Gagner, and Lizette Flores. Oh, and one more, Rebecca Basila. Okay, those are our second prize winners. Congrats. Yay. Let's Lizette's here. Yay, you won, Lizette. Okay. So we were going to be messaging you all of your prizes and exactly what you won, okay? And then what I'll need you to do is we will give you the link. You need to go over to fill out the prize form so that you can get all of your prizes sent to you, all right? We will post that. And now we have the grand prize winner. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's get a drum roll. Drum roll for our grand prize winner. And the winner is Robert Cook. Robert,
yay!
He's a new daddy. Him and his wife are expecting their first. I don't know exactly their due date, but it's coming up. And I remember when I saw his picture here that when it came up, I know they were sitting in our Sunday afternoon Q&A at the baby show. So that was a fantastic. I'm so excited for them, and they are expecting. And how cool. We have a daddy who won, a new daddy.
That is very cool.
Very cool, right? We don't always have the daddies winning here. So this was fantastic. Okay, those are all the winners of our scavenger hunt. If you guys enjoyed it, let's see some hearts going. First of all, for big congrats to all the winners and to everyone who played. It was really fun doing this with you. We'll be doing it again in LA, okay, which is like first week of November. So you're going to get another chance to play with us and have some fun and win some prizes. So there you go. We had great prizes too. Some really good. I'll be posting everything. I'll post all the prizes. I'll post all the winners. We'll do all of that. I just wanted to go ahead and announce it to all of you today. All right. So let's do, first of all, I have a little video for you, Rebecca, and for everyone. Okay, let's do a little video, okay? The video is a video that was made by Earth Mama Organics, and it is about motherhood. Just a short video that kind of ties it all together and really speaks, I think, for all of us of motherhood being one wild ride. And that's the name of the video. And I'm going to go ahead and play. Have you seen this? It's so cute.
I don't think I have.
You haven't seen it? Okay. It's wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and play it. And let's just do a little short video here. Hold on. All right. Hold on. There we go.
Welcome to your beginning. It's funny how crossing this finish line, after digging to the near bottom of an infinite reserve, is actually just the starting point. In fact, everything is new. The world won't ever be the same. And you won't ever be the same either, because motherhood is one wild ride. And no matter the path, we're all still somebody's mama. As fierce as we are soft. As similar as we are different. We're all humans just being. undone by the deep mystery, beauty, the intensity. And we're all just wondering when, oh, when are we going to sleep again? We might be worlds apart, but we come from the same primal, raw heart is wandering around outside of our body's place. Yes, we are all humans just being. All of us grounded in nature, empowered by love.
Oh my gosh.
Was that amazing?
My gosh.
Are you crying? I know, right?
Oh, no.
It really just kind of brings it all back and grounds you in, like, what is this that we're all doing here together? And Rebecca, oh, you're so cute. Yeah, I know. Maybe.
Dang, I'm wearing makeup as well.
It really does. And it doesn't end. It really doesn't end, you know?
No.
It really has us understand and feel how connected we all really are. You know, we really are. And it's the thing that we share in common. And it's why, you know, with this crazy thing called the internet, we can sit here together and have these conversations with each other and still feel connected, because there's something that really does connect us all. And that's our children. It's our babies. And it's what I love so much about watching you all here in the chat room, but also in my private group, and when we meet in person, like Rebecca and I did this weekend, to see that we're just all doing the same kind of thing and trying to get through it together. And watching you all support each other from all corners of the globe, which just has me crying every day, really watching that all happen. It's what we need. So love it. Just absolutely love it. Thank you, Mama, for making such a beautiful video that had Rebecca cry here.
Yeah, it made me cry online. Thanks for that.
I shocked you with that one, didn't I?
Totally did. Could have warned me.
Beautiful. So beautiful. All right. So let's do a breastfeeding question. Okay, this one came in from Carrie. Carrie said, my baby sleeps through the night, 3 months old.
What?
I wake up so full at night still. How do I not produce so much at night? You know, here's the thing. And you're going to have like every other mama here going, is that a problem that the baby's sleeping through the night and you make all that milk? You know, the two things. And so remember that it's always, every baby is different. Every mom is different. And yes, is it okay for her baby to sleep through the night if that's what the baby's doing normally on their own? Yes, at 3 months, that is okay to do. You let your baby sleep if they're sleeping at night. Obviously, the baby's getting everything that it needs during the day. And obviously, Carrie also makes a lot of milk and is a producer. She just has a lot of milk, and she's still having those issues at night where she's still making. And that's very, very common and understandable, because your breast milk, your prolactin levels are highest at night. And typically you will see that when you make the most is during the night and in the early morning hours. Okay, so you'll often wake up with lots of milk, but that late afternoon or early evening, you'll have less milk. It's just the way our bodies work and produce. And so it's common, especially when the baby's so young. And if it's kind of new that the baby's now starting to sleep through, that your body hasn't quite caught up with the baby's rhythm, which will happen. It will happen that eventually the breasts will kind of catch up with and get on the same page as the baby, so to speak. Okay. But one thing that you could do is you could just take it a little slower. The baby may have started sleeping through the night quickly. Like just one night started doing that. It could have been the reaction to a growth spurt. Baby could have had a growth spurt, ate a lot, and this may be the case, Carrie. Maybe you're here, I'm not sure, but you're hearing it later. You know, just think back. Did the baby just have a growth spurt? 3 months is a typical time to have one where they're eating a lot very often. You're feeding, and then you bounce back with twice as much milk, and now the baby's taking it a lot more during the day and having these longer stretches at night. Okay. That being said, and I'm sure Rebecca can agree with this, how often we hear someone say, my baby's sleeping through the night, and then 2 weeks later, things have changed again, and they're not.
Yeah, I'm thinking 4 months sleep regression. So actually having a lot more milk during the night, you may kind of be thankful for that in a couple of weeks that you have that.
Exactly. And, so one of the things I would say is, because this could be a transient thing, because the baby is so young, and because this is just a typical time to see something like this, and it doesn't always really last, I would probably say, if you're really full, maybe get up once during the night and pump. And what that will do is 2 things. First of all, it's going to give you a good opportunity to store away a little bit of milk. It's 3 things. It's going to also prevent you from being too engorged and possibly causing a problem with plugged ducts and mastitis. It also is going to keep that supply going 2 weeks later when the baby is waking up at night and you do need that milk supply. If you see that this is not a transient thing and the baby continues to sleep through the night, what you could do is slowly wean yourself down on your milk supply. So maybe you're waking up for even 5 minutes, pump a little bit out. You don't have to like pump long, amounts or a lot of it, just enough to start to feel comfortable, and then you can try to kind of see how's your baby doing and start slowly decreasing that amount for a few nights until you don't need to wake up anymore. The body is very responsive. And so as you start to wean down the amount that you're asking from it, whether it's from nursing or pumping, the body will respond and stop making as much so that you can be comfortable. Try to, I would say slowly. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't jump into doing anything at this stage because sleep is going to change so much within the next couple of weeks, couple of months, that you want to sort of, because even though your child's not waking to nurse now during the night, they may be, and it may be that they go through a growth spurt in another 2 weeks and they need that extra milk. So yeah, I would just really be really cautious right now. Enjoy the fact that your child is sleeping through the night, certainly. But yeah, just sort of be very cautious with any kind of big changes that you've made.
Yeah. Carrie's actually here. She said the baby's been sleeping through the night from 2 months old. It's her 5th baby.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it could be that the baby's just sleeping through the night. She may just have a lot of milk, and that's what's happening.
Yeah. I'd still be cautious.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually going to post up a question here that I see from Soledad in the chat room and let you answer this, Rebecca.
Great.
There we go. Can someone explain, someone would be Rebecca right now. Can someone explain sleep regression? Because I'm still not understanding. And I think a lot of people hear this term and they don't understand what we're talking about. So I thought that was a good question.
That's a great question. So a sleep regression is where sleep regresses. So it can be trickier to get your child down to sleep for naps and for nighttime, and durations of sleep can be shorter. Regressions happen when there is something going on developmentally. So when your child is learning something new, they will go through a sleep regression, or something big kind of just happens within their life, then sleep can regress. So this is easy for us to tell when it's something that they're physically learning. So for example, if they're learning to roll or to crawl or to stand or to walk, you can see what this is. You can see it during the day. And you'll also notice that when they have this extra wake-ups during the night or struggling to fall asleep, it's because they are practicing this new skill. So you can see, they just won't stop rolling, or they keep getting to standing, or they're beginning to crawl around their bed. And so you can easily see sort of what's going on there. But this also will happen when there's cognitive development. So when their brain is developing in some way, in a big kind of leap, then the same thing will happen. And that to you may look like, I don't know what, suddenly they're just waking up. They don't seem to be learning anything new, so I have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. A couple of things that I've found is that a regression will often look like a big long wake up during the night when nothing seems to be wrong. So your child is not necessarily wanting to eat. They're not even necessarily wanting to be held or rocked. They're just awake and nothing seems to be wrong. And this wake up can be an hour and a half. Oftentimes during a regression, we'll have kind of one long wake up during the night and then back to sleep. So that's what a regression is. You can expect one at around 4 months. And there's this 4-month sleep regression is actually a continuation from a very big shift that happens at around 12 weeks, where sleep shifts permanently, because we go from infant sleep cycles to adult sleep cycles. So there's no kind of going back. So once you a lot of times people say, well, my child was sleeping great, then we hit this 4-month sleep regression. How do we get back to that? Well, you don't, because now sleep is completely different. You now have to find your new normal. We have a 6-month sleep regression, but most people are kind of still recovering from the 4-month that they don't even really notice the 6-month one. We have a 9-month one. You are most certainly going to notice that 9-month one, because that one is a doozy. There's a lot going on developmentally, both physically, cognitively, and then we also have separation anxiety. Any one of those 3 things could cause a regression. We have 3 things happening together, so that one could be really challenging. 12-month regression, again, don't really notice that. 18-month and 24-month regression. So those are the sleep regressions. Best thing that you can do to actually help your child through a regression is to let them practice this new skill that they're learning in their sleep space, because when they are learning these skills, they need to perfect it everywhere. You'll notice that when you put your child down anywhere and they're learning to roll, they will roll. Even though they can roll on the carpet, they need to figure out how to roll on the bed and the changing mat and on the kitchen floor. And all of these places, they'll just be sort of having to perfect it everywhere. And then they're kind of done. They know how to do it. They don't feel that desire to do it all the time. If the only time your child ever gets to practice their new skill in their bed is when you're either trying to get them down to sleep or in the middle of the night, that's when they are going to do it. So having some awake playtime in their sleep space every single day can help them work on this new skill, perfecting it hopefully a little bit sooner, and then you'll be out of the regression a little bit quicker.
Great answer. I don't think that question has come up in that way before.
No, I don't think it has.
I think it's really important that sometimes we can take for granted that everybody knows what we're saying when we're saying. So I really appreciated that Soledad posted that for everyone, because it's kind of one of those things that goes over people's heads and they're like, what is this that they're talking? Sort of like growth spurts and, things like that. So, all right. Awesome.
That's a great question.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I just want to, for anybody who jumped in late, I want to make sure that you all have the word for today. It's baby. Okay, so go ahead and type the word baby so that you get all the links from me. The links will include this is how you will enter to win all the Earth Mama organic amazing prizes today, the package that we're going to give away. So make sure you type the word baby here. It'll also give you a link so you can join my private Facebook group. And if you haven't joined the My Baby Experts community, please do so. Okay, I'm just blown away. Isn't it amazing how
amazing
everybody is, just everybody jumping in and supporting each other. I just see moms going in and just needing some support and love and just being loved on constantly. So I love how much you guys have all supported each other. It really moves me every time I'm in there watching all of you talk to each other. And I want to also make sure that you're aware that the Simply Breastfeeding, my breastfeeding class is completely free. It's very easy to access. The link will be here in the comment that you get back from me when you type the word baby, or use the link here in the post. And if you're expecting, or if you've had your baby already, or if you're planning another, or you're nursing now and just want to learn some extra stuff, I promise you're going to learn something new by watching that class. Go to the link within the comment that I'm going to give you once you type baby, and you'll be able to access it. You can also go to simplybreastfeeding.com. Okay, simplybreastfeeding.com will take you right there as well.
I think with that class, even if you are fully established breastfeeding and you've been breastfeeding for 18 months, you're still going to learn something.
Absolutely.
And then even if you're not going to have another child, you're probably going to have a friend who is, and then you can direct them to that class. But it's just nice that you're going to then be able to support your friends in their breastfeeding journey, because normally if you are unprepared, or you can be as prepared as you because I thought I was prepared because I bought a book on breastfeeding. So I thought I'm totally prepared. I'm just going to be the most awesome breastfeeder and mother on the planet. Right. And it was not like that whatsoever, because it's not just the what you can read. It's sort of that peer support, because breastfeeding can be tricky. It can be hard. And if you can get that support and you can offer that support, then you're going to help somebody achieve their goals. And I think that if you know that you can do that, that's just an amazing thing that you can do for yourself and for your community.
Totally, totally. So well said, Rebecca. I can't, that's one of the things as we're building out the new membership platform. It's one of the stages where I'm actually talking, and you'll learn more about what I'm designing right now. And there are really stages of breastfeeding that we're talking about. And one of the stages is actually the support stage. It's the stage where you never fully leave the whole world of this. And I know for so many of you, it has become such a passion that you're like, I loved it. I'm so grateful that I was able to breastfeed my baby, and I just want to help other people. How do I do that? And it's why we've created the support stage of it. And I look at myself and I look at Rebecca and I think we are in that support stage, never really left. I breastfed both of my girls. And then now it's been 14 years of support. And whether you're a sleep consultant or an IBCLC or a midwife or none of the above, but someone who is passionate about supporting other human beings to breastfeed their children, that's what this really is about. It's about, the next generation. It's about human condition. It's about, parenting and mothering and fathering and having just the healthiest life possible and reaching our own personal goals, whatever that may be, whether that's exclusive breastfeeding, whether that's, breastfeeding and formula feeding or formula feeding, whatever that is for you, to reach your own personal goals so that you can feel like you were fully supported and you at least did what you wanted to do. Right? And so that's really the goal here, is to really help you to reach that goal. And I think that's what we're doing. So I also wanted to bring up another video here as I did that. I'm alone here in the studio, my kitchen.
Is this video going to make me cry?
My refrigerator right here in my studio, you see? Okay. So I am going to have a studio. I'm building one downstairs, so I will have one. But I'm alone. Joe's not here with me today, so I'm doing all this on my own. I'm very proud of myself. But this video, actually, we've been trying to play it for quite a while, and it answers two of the questions that I'm about to address right now. So one of the questions came in from Melissa when she posted this question, and the other one is posted here in the chat. And they kind of relate to each other. So I'm going to read Melissa's question, and then I'm going to pull up Jennifer's question because they kind of go together. Okay, so Melissa said, will they usually feed on both breasts at each feeding? And what are some of the signs to switch sides? All right, so let's address that one first, and then I'm going to address Jennifer's question. Yes and no. Okay, they may not feed on both sides. It all depends on how much milk you have in your breast at a particular feeding and your baby's stomach capacity. So if your breast capacity and your baby's stomach capacity are not as equal, the baby may only feed on one side and go to the other side for the next feeding. And at times this might even be preferable, okay? Especially in the beginning when we talk about things like foremilk and hindmilk, which is really only something to consider when the breasts are really full and engorged, okay? The idea that you're gonna have too much foremilk when the breast is not that full is not really an issue. It's when the breast is full. What we're talking about is that the milk that first comes out on a full breast is more watery. And as the milk drains and you get to the milk that is left behind that, it has more fat content. The fat globules on the side start to come off and enter into the milk. And so we have more fat in the milk. It's not something that I want anyone to worry about or be concerned about unless the baby is having issues with weight gain. And this is usually something we would see in the beginning, in those first few weeks where you're feeding often, the baby's feeding for long stretches of time, you're switching sides between feedings, and the baby is peeing and showing you all those signs that I discussed earlier, which are those audible swallows, the breast feels softer, the baby's peeing tons of diapers, but the baby's just not gaining weight, maybe just staying the same and really not seeing that weight gain. That's the time when you might want to start thinking about, well, maybe I have a lot of milk and maybe I'm never really getting to that fatty or hind milk cream, okay, to get into the baby. At those times, you may want to stick to one side longer before switching, okay? I don't like people to overthink this whole breastfeeding thing too much unless there's an issue to do that. That's why you hear me saying yes and no. If you're feeding your newborn on one side, I would recommend that you stick to that side till you hear the swallowing start to slow down. All right. So if they're really gulping and they're really drinking, you don't really need to switch until you hear that swallowing start to slow down. At that point, you can take the baby off the breast, burp the baby, and try starting on the other side. It'll usually be a little bit of an uneven feeding where maybe one side they're eating longer and then just a few minutes on the other side and they're completely done. You want to just keep track. You probably won't even have to because you'll feel fuller on that side. Start the next feeding on the side that you finished and then just alternate from there. All right. So how to know when to switch sides? When the swallowing starts to decrease, right? When you don't hear as much milk transferring, don't have the baby working hard when there's milk to be had on the other side, all right? And that feeds right into, excuse the pun, feeds right into the other question, which came from Jennifer. And then how often do I need to burp a newborn while breastfeeding, all right? This is a question that is very common. It's also a question that is quite often misinformed in their answers, and it's quite often overlooked in your feeding techniques. And I really do want to stress that all babies need to be burped. All babies swallow air when they are swallowing, okay? Everybody swallows air when they swallow, regardless of whether they're breastfed or bottle fed, they swallow air. Now, granted, when a baby is feeding with a bottle, often they will swallow more air and those burps can be louder, okay? But that doesn't mean that the air is not going down when they're breastfeeding. They're just little tiny air bubbles, but they hurt just the same. And so they need to come out so that your baby's not awake a half an hour later crying when they're not hungry, there's nothing you could do, they're just screaming, you don't know why. It was that tiny air bubble that had we just done a little technique to get it out at the time, it would have saved you many hours of screaming and crying and a better sleep experience in between the feedings. So I want to really encourage you to look for the signs, okay? It's not really how often do I burp the baby. The answer is as often as they need it. So now how do you know your baby needs to be burped? You're going to be looking for pretty much two signs. That's what I see typically, two signs that your baby needs to be burped. And I wish I had a baby. Oh, I do. Hold on a second. You have a baby doll. Okay. So here's your baby in the Love to Dream. Okay. And you're nursing your baby. And what you're going to see is that the baby will start to slow down and start to fall asleep. Okay. Two things you need to do in order to get a burp is to make sure your baby is awake and not crying. It's very hard to burp a sleeping baby. And it's almost impossible to burp a crying baby because they're so tense. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when the baby starts to slow down and starting to fall asleep at the breast, quickly, that's the time to take the baby off and burp the baby before they fall into a very deep sleep. The other sign that you might notice that will tell you that your baby needs to burp is that, and this could happen like almost within a minute of feeding, as soon as that letdown happens, they could gulp really hard and that air bubble went down and it needs to come out. So what you'll see is as the baby is nursing, typically they will be very relaxed in the way that their body is. Their whole body should be relaxed. They should be swallowing and in a relaxed state. At some point, you might notice that the baby starts to arch their back or pulling on the breast or wiggling their body. That's typically a sign that the baby just swallowed an air bubble. And I would remove the baby at that point and burp the baby. Okay, that arching that they do, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. You've all felt that before. If you felt that arching, go ahead and comment here. I want to hear from you because we've all seen that. But did you recognize it as a burp that needed to come out? That's the question. I know I didn't either.
No.
Okay, but when you have a mom who has like a large supply, even an oversupply or a very heavy letdown, you can see that though that can happen, 5-6 times during a feeding, and each time you're going to get a little burp out, and that will help the baby after the feeding to be more comfortable. And also, you want to make sure that if the baby's really swallowing a lot of air, more than normal, that you get the baby checked for tongue and lip ties. Because when the baby's not latched well because of any kind of tethered oral tissues, that often has them swallowing a lot of air as well. It's called aerophagia, and it's because of the way the baby's latching and the seal is breaking, and they're not quite able to get that same kind of a seal because of the tethers. So keep that in the back of your mind as well, that if your baby's just swallowing a lot of air, and it's not because you have this extremely large supply, it could be a result of that, and make sure the baby's getting evaluated. I do have my burping video that I would like to show because we haven't had a chance to really show it. So I'm going to go ahead and play it right now. And the last few times that we tried to play it didn't work. So yeah. If it doesn't work again, we'll play it on in the group, okay? But I'm going to try it. So let's bring it up here. And the last video worked, so hopefully this one will too. Hold on one second. I want to be able to show you how to properly and effectively burp your baby. Now, many people think that a breastfed baby does not need to burp, and nothing could be further from the truth. Anyone who swallows air, and whether they're bottle feeding or breastfeeding, they're going to swallow air. The best way to get your baby to burp is, one, to make sure that your baby is not crying, and also to make sure that your baby is awake. So right now, Shayna is awake, but she is a little bit fussy, and that fussiness is going to cause her to tense up her diaphragm and not allow the burp to come out. You'll see most people, when they go to burp their baby, they will pat their baby this way. And although sometimes this can be effective, the other thing it can do is cause your baby to tense. Patting is really not necessary in burping your baby, and can actually make it more difficult to get the air out. Think about it. When you need to burp, no one needs to pat you on the back. You just need to be upright, and you need to be relaxed. So the key to burping your baby is to hold your baby in a position that will help to put a little bit of pressure on their diaphragm, and at the same time, cause them to completely relax. The way that I do that is I take my thumb and my forefinger, put it right under the baby's jaw, not around the baby's neck, but just under the jaw, while my pinky goes right under their arm. This will help to stabilize their neck and their head together. With your other hand, put it underneath the baby's bottom like this, and gently lean the baby forward so that they can't arch their back and throw themselves backwards, and at the same time, putting a little bit of pressure on that diaphragm in the front. Once you're in the right position, you got a good grip on your baby, move your baby up and down around the same speed and distance that I'm going right now. What you will see is that even on a baby that starts to cry or that is fussy, they will relax with this motion. Up and down, nice and gently, but enough where they can feel it. If your baby continues to cry while you're doing this, you can also gently shush in their ear. You can see how Shayna is relaxing immediately as I'm doing that. That shushing will also help them to relax. Do that until the baby burps, which usually is not very long. It's a very effective way of doing it. As you can see, I'm going to get some really strong biceps from doing it this way. And for small babies, that works. And if you're strong enough to do it, this is great for dads. Dads do great with burping. But if you're a mom and you're sitting in your breastfeeding position and you're on the couch, or your arms are tired or your baby's large, this may not work for you. Another way that you can do it is take the baby. Instead of putting the baby right to your shoulder, you're going to exaggerate that a little bit more so that it goes up over your shoulder this way. That way your baby's diaphragm is now on your shoulder. So what you were doing with your hand before, you're now accomplishing with your shoulder. When the baby's in this position, you can gently move up and down, up and down, up and down until you get the burp. Okay, you can also shush from this position as well. As soon as your baby burps, bring back to the breast,
right back to the bottle, whichever way you're feeding, and your baby will be fine. Thank you, Shayna.
It worked. Yay.
Yay.
It worked. And I saw people saying, you know, that Elaine said it's one of her favorite videos. Thank you for creating it. I'm so much better burping with my third than my other two video. I'm so happy to hear that from you, Elaine. We've had almost 4.5 million views of that burping video. And it just blows me away. You know, for years, I've been teaching that method and had to describe it. And I thought last year, let me go ahead and just make a video that everybody can watch that explains this, because it's been such an important technique for people to learn. And I've had the same reaction from so many people just saying, go on. Oh, okay. Yeah, Stephanie just posted it here in the chat where you can go watch that video where it has those 4.5 million views. Go read some of the comments. It's just so cool to watch people going, I just came across this video. I've never seen you before, but it totally worked for me. And I just loved reading all the comments from everybody around the world watching and burping their baby together.
I used to do something similar with mine, get up in that high position, and then I'd walk up and down stairs, because that would be that movement.
You're doing the exact movement, exactly.
Because that movement, I don't know why, that just, for me, was not just sat there doing that. I much preferred to sort of do a bit of walking. And so I lived in an apartment, so I had to do the fire escape, but it was fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, this is why it works. Okay. Why it works is because of what I said before. The baby needs to be awake and not crying.
Yeah.
And movement is what helps the baby to get calm. I used to teach a class when I had my store and my learning center. It was called Predict. And what I would do is I would have all these pregnant couples come in and I would teach them all these different techniques. And one of them was this burping technique. Okay. And I would bring in other moms and dads who had already been through the class, now had their baby, and they would come in with their babies anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks old. And they would bring them in. And when they would start to cry, I would help them to relax. I would show them how to burp, and I would do it on live babies. And I remember every single time I teach a class, I would get a call from one of my students who was bringing their baby saying, they're really, really fussy today. Are you sure that you want them to come to the class? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I used to bring them in and I would just show parents how to calm their babies. And it's because babies are very predictable. And these movements are what they actually like. And as you get better at how you hold them, and as you get better at the movement and the smoothness at which you do it, you could see in the video there with Shayna that she like went into this position of like complete relaxation. And when that happens, the burp comes out, and it's quick, and it's quite quick. There is no reason to pat a baby, and the pat will actually make them tense. So you see people getting like frustrated where they're trying to pet. Now they're getting harder with the pat, and the patting actually tenses the baby. You get the opposite reaction. So it really does work. And like you said, Rebecca, you know, whether it was going up and down the stairs, did the same thing, or maybe you put the baby on your knee and you're just moving up and down on your knee. Sometimes you can just move the baby back and forth like this, but the movement is what gets the burp to come out because the baby relaxes.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Oh my God, this hour went so quick.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
It really is.
Oh, time flies when you're having fun, huh? All right. So you guys, you need to go ahead here. I'm going to put up my thing here. Go ahead and please make sure that you are typing the word baby. Okay. Type the word baby to get the links for today. This is how you will enter to win the fabulous prize from Earth Mama Organics. You do not want to miss out on this. It is just one of the best lines on the market. This is actually a mug from them that I've had for years. They used to be called Earth Mama Angel Baby. It's one of my mugs that I had here in my cabinet. But please type the word baby. Make sure that you get all the links. And please go watch the Simply Breastfeeding class. We talked to so many parents this weekend, and it was like, Rebecca, right? It was like the one thing I would say to everybody. All right, look, if you do anything, go watch that class first. Okay. All these products are fabulous. They're great tools. Everything we're talking about when we talk about products is a tool, but the education and the knowledge like you got today is invaluable. It is the most important thing that you can do to prepare yourself to reach your success, to have success and reach your own goals. It is the most important thing that I can offer you and provide you. Okay. And same with Rebecca. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this. So please, good. Type the word baby. You'll get your links. You'll enter. And the link for the class will be there as well. Rebecca, thank you once again.
Thank you. Always fun.
We'll be back next week, right?
We are. Yes.
We have back-to-back weeks this time. Okay, great. So if your question did not get answered today, or you have questions that you posted here in the comments, Stephanie's going to go through these comments today because there were a lot of questions posted. What we'll do is we will circle back to some of these questions for next week. And then tomorrow, same time, 1 p.m. tomorrow, I'll be doing my breastfeeding Q&A with Jamie Grayson over on the Baby Guy NYC Facebook page. Yay. So I'll bring some of these questions with me as well. I'll be posting later tonight about the Q&A for tomorrow. You can always add your question there for me. And I will see you tomorrow. And then Rebecca and I will see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Thanks, Rebecca. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.